If failure is not an option, then why do so many people tell you that you should fail? And why did a resume of failures go viral in 2016? A resume of failures, that's a resume where you don't list your achievements, but your rejections and your mistakes. So many of the world's top thinkers and leaders recommend that everyone keeps a failure of resumes. I'm JP Michel, and I find the best career advice for you to help you shape your career path and figure out what's next for you. And in this video, you'll learn why a failure resume may be the smartest career move you ever make. If you don't do this, you might be stuck where everyone else is, paralyzed by the fear of failure, and you won't be able to truly become the person you want to be. But if you do decide to change the way you see failure, you can create a completely different recipe for success. Instead of avoiding failure, you're actually going to seek it. This will help you make a roadmap that actually helps you get to where you want to go. So let's get started. Part 1, find the beauty of failure. I don't know about you, but in school, I felt like failure was the worst thing that could happen to me. Like failing a test, a class, failing a grade. These things meant you're stupid and you don't work hard enough.
Well, you'll have plenty of time to live in a van down by the river when you're living in a van down by the river.
So you kind of think, well, let's avoid failure at all costs. When you do this, you undermine the tremendous value in failure. There is value in failure. Number 1, failure lets you see reality. Reality meaning, how does the world actually work? And it teaches you faster than success does, because instead of just celebrating your success, you can dissect what went wrong and you can adapt. Failure can become your most powerful path to learning if you choose to look at what happened with courage. Finally, it helps you build resistance. It can toughen you, your ability to keep going, even when you don't get what you initially wanted. So, failure is useful, but it can hurt. One of my biggest failures was losing the elections to become president of our student federation at our university. I had to convince 27,000 students to try and vote for me, and I lost in front of everyone after a huge campaign. Now, I learned so much from the experience, way more than I would have if I wouldn't have tried in the first place. So to change our mindsets around failure, we need to do something different, drastic, bold, or scary, or else the fear of failure can just consume you. So what's something bold? Maybe creating a failure resume. Now, Professor Melanie Steffen was one of the first to publish the idea of a CV of failures in 2010. In an article in Nature magazine, she estimated a 1-to-6 ratio of positive endorsements for her work to challenges she's received. That's a high failure rate and something most people never see and never talk about. Then in 2016, Johannes Hoscheffer, when he was at Princeton, he published his own CV of failures with rejections, and it got a lot of attention. It was refreshing. So few people talk about their rejections and when things don't work out, and people liked seeing that level of humility. And it helped in his fields. When he was interviewed, he said, most of what I try fails, but these failures are invisible. Do you see why this matters to you? If you don't see people's failures, you might get a warped sense of reality. You might not understand what's the path to get to where I want to go in my career. How do you actually get there? What does it take to be successful? If you don't see the failures, you'll have a warped view of what success looks like for you. Turns out that most paths are full of failure. It's just that no one talks about them. So in an effort to change things, a lot of people started talking about failure. Take a look. Dory Clark talks about some of her big failures. Here are a bunch of other people that created their own. There's even a venture capital firm that created their own failure resume as a company. They call it their anti-portfolio of missed investments. Companies that they were offered to invest in, didn't, but should have. You might notice by now that we're talking about good failure. So let's make a distinction here. Good failure is when you get to analyze it, extract lessons, adjust your behavior, and that's when you tap into all the benefits. So as you read these failure resumes, it changes how you see your path. And to take advantage of this approach, you can create your own failure resume today. Here's how.
Well, my biggest advice for you in 1 minute is to keep a failure resume. Now, what is that?
Yes, what is a failure resume?
It's a list.
I have a feeling mine will be quite long.
Well, mine is really long. In fact, I add to it every day. Essentially, It's a list of all your biggest screw-ups. Personal, professional, and academic.
Oh, my.
And the idea is you can't just write down what you did, you have to write down what you learned from it.
Oh.
And essentially this becomes a document of everything you learn every single day. And it's much more likely that you will not repeat the same mistakes
Interesting.
if you actually write them down, acknowledge them, and write down what you've learned.
This exercise is powerful. It can rewire your brain. You turn shame into strategy. Because the truth is, you've already had failures and you've already learned from them. Recognizing this explicitly will create momentum for you. So go ahead and try. Download our worksheet below and fill out these 3 columns. Number 1, what were your failure or rejections? What did you learn from them? And what did you do differently? Start with 3, and this is your first draft, your first failure resume. Go ahead and do that now. Ready? Good. Now, next step. Here's where it can become even more powerful. Plan to fail. I mean it. Write down 2 things that you're likely to fail at. You should try difficult things in your career. I mean, you're going to apply to schools, apply to jobs. You're going to ask for help. You'll receive rejections along the way, and you should. But by anticipating failure like this, you're going to tap into some big benefits. We can remove the element of surprise. We can turn anticipated obstacles into triggers for actions. And it can keep these goals intrinsically motivating for you, even if you don't achieve your initial outcomes. Here are a few examples to get you thinking about what might be most useful for you.
Pause to read.
And here's one for me. I want to have 100,000 YouTube subscribers by September 1st, 2026. That's big. Let's try it. And you can see how freeing it can be to plan for failure instead of avoiding it. Failure is not an option. That's wrong. It's not about not failing. Everyone fails, more than we think. In this video, you found a more powerful way to think about failure. It's not something that we hide from, avoid, or feel ashamed of. It's something we use. You expect it, you learn from it, and you even plan for it. When you change this relationship to failure, you change your relationship to fear. And this is going to help you create your new recipe for success, because when you fail, you learn a lot. And that's going to lead you to new insights that you need to move forward. All right. Check out the links below, get started, and put a YouTube comment below. What's one failure you've had that gave you something positive? Looking forward to reading that. See you in the next video.